I'm doing today. Welcome back to On the Ball after about 4 or 5 month hiatus. We are back. Predict the Prem and review the Prem, plus amongst other content, we'll be back on this channel. So it's good to be back, and it's time to get into review the Prem.
Let's do it.
So as you can see, the scores on the doors: 37 points to Sim, 42 points to myself. And as you know by now, if you're new, it's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. It's 5 points for a goal, 3 points for assist. Well, 2 points for an assist.
2 points for an assist.
2 points for an assist. And let's get into the weekend's action. Starting off with Friday night football at the Vitality. Bournemouth 3, Fulham 1. And what a sensational start to the season it's been for Bournemouth and Andoni Iraola. Sim went for 3-1. He gets a big fat 5-pointer. I went for 2-1. So I get 1 point. So that leaves a 1 point gap after the first game of the game week. And I felt like both these teams were giving as good as they got for the majority of the game. Sessegnon puts Fulham 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go, and you're like, wow, is this going to be an incredible result for Fulham at the Vitality? But Bournemouth after that really stepped it up a gear. They really did some fantastic goals. Semenyo with the first one with some unbelievable individual skill. And Clivert, man, what a goal that was. That's definitely going to be one of the goal of the season contenders. And then Semenyo just killed it off at the end to give you that 5 points.
Yeah, absolutely, which is lovely stuff. But it was a game of absolutely cracking goals. Bournemouth looking for, as you say, they were going to get a defeat at home for the first time this season. But brilliant turnaround. And let's talk about Antoine Semenyo.
Yeah.
What a player this guy is. He keeps getting better and better, it seems, every week. That goal on the touchline, beating two players from the tightest of angles, somehow finding the far corner. He has had an incredible start to the season off the back of signing that new contract for Bournemouth. Everyone is thinking, is he the next big player to be getting a move to one of the big six teams? Off the back of what was a really strong season last season as well. He has been absolutely phenomenal, and it's like he's set for his best ever season, it looks like, isn't it, at Bournemouth? 70 million wasn't enough to get him last summer. I shudder to think what the bids are going to be this summer if he continues this kind of form, because he has had an absolute storming start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, 6 goals and 3 assists already. He got 11 goals and 5 assists. It seems like if he keeps going in this trajectory, he's going to blow those numbers out the water. And, he already had a lot of suitors last summer. So, unbelievable start. And let's see if he can carry it on, because, I mean, we all said last season, like, he's a really good player, but maybe can be inconsistent a bit in front of goal. I mean, that's not the case this season.
No, absolutely not. He seems to have really improved his finishing. And someone said he's maybe a reincarnation of Sadio Mane, I've heard. I think that's quite a good comparison. He has just been absolutely brilliant. So strong, has that quality at the end of it, not just those physical attributes. So phenomenal stuff. And it's going to be a big kind of battle to get him in the summer. But what about Bournemouth? Are they in the race for Champions League?
I mean, it's 7 games gone, so I mean, it's hard to make too many sweeping judgments on the likes of Bournemouth, because we know, like we've seen with Bournemouth before, they can go on really good runs of form and they tail off for a little bit as well. They've got a good squad there. They've got good players. I don't think they're going to be, come the end of the season, in the fight for Champions League, but they could get European football next season. I
mean, they got to be one of the leaders for that European spot right now, you would think.
Right now they are,
in the top 6. I mean, who's challenging them? And I'm not saying no one's challenging them. I'm just saying who are their challengers?
Crystal Palace.
Palace, who are doing very well, but I think Bournemouth might have a stronger squad, and they got no European football. You got Newcastle, obviously going to get up the table, United, but Bournemouth would definitely put themselves in amongst in that pack for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they've only suffered 1 defeat this season, and that was to Liverpool, first game of the season. And, some would argue, they should have taken something out of that game. So, you've got to give a lot of credit to Andoni Iraola. You've got to give a lot of credit to the Bournemouth squad, how they're manoeuvring through this season so far. But, still early days, though. Next up, we go to Ellen Road. Spurs beat Leeds by 2-1. Leeds suffer their first home defeat of the season. Sim went for 1-0. I went for 2-1, so my turn to get the 5-pointer in this game. Sim gets 1 point, which makes it 48-43 in my favour. And, look, it kind of like it was what it said in tin, a very hard fought away victory for Tottenham Hotspur, where, you know, Leeds did have their chances, didn't they? Clawed their way back in the game with a Vicario spill that found his way to Noah Okafor, but Spurs kept grinding away, kept plugging away, and got that winner.
Yeah, tough away performance in the rain against a team who are high in confidence so far after coming up from the Championship. They've done really well, a lot maybe better than a lot of people expected early on with some of their performances and some of their results. And especially when you know there's moments where momentum is against Tottenham and you're thinking it's going to be a tough game, maybe the game's getting away from them. But, you know, second half, they didn't let it affect them. Kudus got that goal, and what a start to life he has had, Mohamed Kudus. I think he's been one of the stars of the Premier League. Brilliant goal, first goal in a Tottenham shirt, added to another assist he got in the game, and now he's top assister in the league, level with Jack Grealish with 4 assists. So he has been phenomenal, and Tottenham third in the league. A really strong start under Thomas Frank, results-wise.
Yeah, results-wise, I think performances obviously could be a little bit better, but I think all that matters really is results, and I think the performances are, you know, there's been some dodgy ones in there as well of late, but I think they are going to progressively get better, in my opinion, and I'm fully behind Thomas. I'm loving what I'm witnessing in terms of results, and I think you know, on the pitch it will get better. And in terms of Mohamed Kudus, we just spoke about Semenyo being probably the best performing winger in the league right now. But if you're looking at all the underlying metrics behind Mohamed Kudus, that would suggest that he is actually the strongest performing winger in the Premier League at this moment in time. He's top of the assist charts. He's got the most expected assists, most successful dribbles, most offensive duels won, most accurate crosses, most XA per 100 passes, successful attacking actions as well, duels won in the top 7 leagues. So, I mean, you couldn't have dreamt for a better start to life for Mohamed Kudus at Tottenham Hotspur. Already with 4 assists and a goal to his name. Brilliant start.
Yeah, and 4 West Ham fans were saying they had our pants pulled down with 55 million. We seem to be all right, I think. He's had a brilliant start. Maybe the only criticism is, with so much good work, could he have a few more goal involvements? I mean, we're talking about 5 goal involvements in 7 games, so it's not like he's doing badly. But as you say, he gets in so many good positions, so many dribbles, so many goal scoring positions. Could he even have more? But that's obviously something that he can work on, of course. But right now, he's been phenomenal, and I think all Spurs fans are absolutely delighted with how he's performing.
Yeah. Again, another player as well, João Palhinha. I think he's just so important to us, man. Like, I love watching this guy play. I think he's such a monster in the middle of the park, and this game was no different. Absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
So, Spurs going well, 2-1 on the day, which sets us off on an international break with a win for the first time in 2 years.
Incredible run.
Yeah, Leeds, on the other hand, I think, you know, they lost, but I don't think that they'll be too disheartened going into the international break, because I think they performed fairly well, to be honest. And when you're looking at the results they've had at Ellen Road, they've drawn with Bournemouth, they've drawn with Newcastle, narrow defeat to Tottenham, and they've beaten Everton. And you look at Newcastle, Bournemouth and Everton, all having fairly decent starts to the season as well. So I think if they can make Ellen Road, which they already have, and they continue to do so, a really hard place to come, then, you know, they give themselves a chance.
I think the important thing for them is they're competitive. If you look at the other promoted sides in the past 2 years, they've been dreadful, and they've barely been even competitive in the league, and they've really struggled. So I think Leeds have made a very encouraging start, getting regular results, and even the games they've lost, apart from the Arsenal game, they've been really competitive, all those other games. So I think they did really well.
Moving on to Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. Sim went for 3-0. I went for 2-0. So a 5 points comes my way for this one. Sim gets 1 point, which makes it 53-44. And yeah, I mean, there was always only going to be one winner in this game. And I think it played out how I very much expected. I think Arsenal, you know, were dominating throughout. I don't think West Ham even had a shot on goal throughout the whole game. I mean, this Arsenal defence is just impenetrable. Like, they've conceded 1 goal from open play all season in all competitions, which is crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to get a shot on target, never mind a goal against this Arsenal side. And you're looking at it, I know it's early days, still 7 games gone, but I think they're major favourites for the title.
Only 1 point clear of Liverpool.
I know,
but no, I agree. I think they are. I don't know about major favourites, but they are favourites. I agree. Like, they are playing the best. They've got the strongest squad. They've been together as well a long time, so they're very, very settled. They're going to be really tough to beat this year, and a lot of people are saying, is this their year? It might well be with the way they're playing. Very comfortable victory. And you know what was so impressive as well? They won, obviously comfortable. Odegaard has gone off injured in the first half, apparently with a fairly significant injury.
they're saying it's like 2 to 3 weeks.
I heard 1 to 3 months. I don't know. We'll see. But it's not an insignificant injury. Yet no one really is panicking. There's no one really saying it's going to affect them because they got Eze to come in.
Yeah.
And they have such a strong squad now. We had this conversation the other day. You were like, who is their most important player now? And it was actually a hard question to answer because we're looking in the squad, which injury affects them the most. I don't really know the answer to that question.
I personally think it's Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is so important for them, and I think what Declan Rice brings them on the offensive side and the defensive side altogether, I don't think anyone else can actually replicate that in the middle of the park for them.
I know, but even if let's say Rice gets injured for 3 months, okay, so they have to play Zubamendi, Eze, and Moreno. Oh, terrible! You know what I mean? They got my point. I agree with you. Like, he's very important, and just like Saka is. But I'm saying this squad this season compared to others, like, they're just in an unbelievable position.
I think as of right now, if Saka gets injured, I think they could feel that.
Because Madueke is injured.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they've got cover everywhere. Hincapié can't get a minute. This is a player who was very much sought after by many clubs over the summer. He can't even get a minute at the moment.
I'll tell you what, though, if they don't win the title this year, it's shame on Arteta. Shame on Arteta if they don't win the title this year. It's got to be nailed on for them this year. They've got the best squad. They look the most settled team. I know it's early days and it's only 7 games gone, but I know they lost to Liverpool, but they lost because of a wonder strike from a free kick. Like, if Liverpool don't get that free kick, they don't win that game. I just can't see Arsenal losing at the moment. I just can't.
Yeah, I'm looking. Look at their fixture list. I don't know when they're going to drop points next. They seem relentless. So fair play to them. But I would say the second goal, I don't think it was a penalty. I think it should have been a free kick. They got a bit lucky with that. But
the foul starts outside the box and then it kind of carries on inside the box. I thought the initial contact was outside the box. So why isn't it out?
Yeah, I think the foul was outside. But anyway, doesn't really matter because they were so dominant. It's not like West Ham getting back in the game anyway. So
when are we going to start having a conversation about Victor Gyökeres? Because he was scoring goals for fun, like scoring more goals than he was playing matches. I just don't. He doesn't look anywhere near like that kind of player that they thought they were going to buy. That they thought they were buying.
Well, you think about when Haaland first came into the league, how just he hit the ground running straight away. I think a lot of people expected Gyökeres to have a similar impact, and hasn't quite happened. Look, at the end of the day, 7 games, and he has got 3 goals, but 2 of them against Leeds. One of them, what was a penalty? I can't remember. Yeah. So it's not like he's been fantastic, but it's very early on. And I guess as long as Arsenal are winning, no one really cares.
Yeah.
But if Arsenal ever start dropping points and he's still not scoring, then you'll hear some conversations, I think.
Yeah. Next up, Manchester United, Sunderland. As Man United finally got 3 points in the Premier League. Sim went for 2-1. I went for 2-2. So Sim gains a point for this one, 53-45 in the score. And look, Man United were well-deserved to go into the 2-0 break at half-time. And then I felt like in the second half, it was just kind of like panic stations after that. Man United just kind of sitting back and trying to protect that lead, and Sunderland were the ones in the ascendancy and trying to get a goal. Obviously, that didn't happen. But, yeah, I mean, they got the job done, but I don't think it was all too impressive.
No, I don't think you can really read too much into it. It's a good win against the Sunderland side who have been impressive this season. Yeah, and so it's not a given. I think the big difference in this game, keeper Lamens came in for his debut and he was impressive, made crucial saves, crucial times, commanded his area. He just looked a lot more comfortable than Binder and Onana. And I think, look, based on that game, maybe he's going to make a big difference in goal for them. But, as you say, they did panic a bit in the second half, and Sunderland did have a few chances. If one of them goes in, you're thinking, could they get back in the game? Luckily for United, didn't happen. And they get the win. And to be fair to Man United, at home this season, I think they've been fairly, like, they haven't been as bad as maybe the overall performances and league performance suggests, because I think they've been all right at home. They've had some good results. They've only lost one game to United. They've won the other three. I think it's 3 wins.
Did they lose to
lost.
City?
No, they lost to City at home.
No, City was at the Etihad.
Yeah, so I'm saying at home they've won one. They've won 3 and lost 1, I think.
Oh, they lost to Arsenal, yeah.
Lost to Arsenal, beat Burnley, beat Chelsea, and now beat Sunderland. So building some sort of momentum at home. But, I wouldn't put it past them next game. I think they got Anfield, don't they? Next game.
Next game they go to Anfield, yeah.
So it's probably going to be another defeat, and that guy ain't going to be cutting his hair anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah. I feel sorry for that guy, man. But look, the winter's coming now, so maybe he wants to keep that hair.
Yeah, maybe he's hoping they don't lose. But yeah, look, they got the win. I don't think any Man United fan is going to be jumping on any sort of bandwagon and delighted. But look, Sesko scored, so he's got 2 in 2 now. That's good for him, and it's good to get the win. But Amorim needs some momentum. He needs to be put in the... Look, they haven't won consecutive games, and it's not going to happen, I don't think, next game. So I think that run is going to have to go on, I think.
Seems that way. But the Man United fans were singing to Lamens, the keeper, saying, is that Schmeichel in disguise? After one game, that's how much they're dying for a keeper.
Someone posted on social media a clip of Lamens just like shouting at his defenders, and it was a United fan, and they posted, "Oh, so good to see a Man United keeper showing authority," and someone quote retweeted it saying, "These guys are starving, man." They are starving. If that's what they're getting excited about, a United keeper shouting their defence, they've been starved of good quality keeping.
It was like when Kinski made his debut for Spurs and he made one pass and the whole stadium was just like, wow, what is that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
All right, so 2-0 to Man United. Moving on to Stamford Bridge in a really good game. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1. We both went for 2-1 to Liverpool. 3 defeats on the trot for Liverpool. After them scoring all the last-minute winners, literally every game, 3 in a row now. I think they've conceded late losses or conceded goals to lose the game late on. And this one was no different, Unbelievable goal for Moises Caicedo to open up the scoring. What a hit that was in the first half to go 1-0 to Chelsea. Liverpool peg it back, and you're thinking, all right, are Liverpool going to go on and win the game now? Esteval said no. What a moment for Esteval. He's come into the Premier League and I think he's looked pretty much decent every time he's played, but this was a big moment.
Yeah, and maybe it was his welcome to the Premier League moment for him, because he's come into this league this season and showed flashes, but brilliant cameo, got the winner. And I don't know if Chelsea are well worth the win. I think they played well. I think Liverpool feel a bit unlucky they lost the game. But you got to say, in that first half, obviously, brilliant goal from Caicedo. What a season again he's having. What a phenomenal player he is.
He gets better and better.
And yeah, he really does. And I thought probably Chelsea deservedly in the lead in that first half, you got to say. Liverpool failing to really affect the game. But I thought they deservedly equalised, and they did equalise in that second half. And they really did get back in the game. And I thought when they equalised, I was like, okay, I reckon they're going to go on and win it now. But that double substitution from Chelsea, they brought on Esteval, and they brought on another guy. They made a double substitution. Gittins. And that really changed their fortunes, I felt. I thought that double threat from the wings really forced Liverpool back again. All of a sudden, Chelsea were ending the game stronger. It was a bit end-to-end near the end. I thought either team could have won it, and Chelsea were the ones that took the chance, and Liverpool didn't. So I don't think it was like some terrible performance, but we can't say these results haven't been covered for Liverpool as well. No, we've seen them get lucky in other games, get these last-minute winners. They're way too open in the back. They just haven't found that balance, and now it's starting to cost them.
Yeah, back-to-back Premier League defeats in between, a loss to Galatasaray as well in the Champions League. So Liverpool need to back up their ideas because if they carry on this bad form, they could find themselves with a mountain to climb pretty soon.
Well, they're only 1 point behind.
Yeah, I'm saying if these results continue.
If they continue to lose every game, yeah, of course. But
not even every game. Like, let's say in the next 6 games, they lose 2 and draw 1. Even that will be a mountain to climb. Because I think Arsenal will probably win the next 6 games.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they do, if Arsenal do win the next 6 games, Liverpool could be in trouble because they've got some tough games coming up.
Exactly.
So you got to back up their ideas. I think Isaac still finding his way, although he got a really good assist, I felt. He's just got to find the right balance. He dropped Wirtz, but I thought he came on and did really well. I thought he played really well when he came on. Had a brilliant, that back heel flick to Salah was phenomenal. So I think they spent a lot of money and a lot of new signings. Trent's gone as well, which I think has made a big, big difference because they've had to really change how they kind of approach games now and how they set up and structure. And Slot hasn't kind of found the right balance yet. But I also feel like I saw a pundit yesterday say Liverpool in transition at the moment. I'm like, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having Liverpool in transition. They just won the league and they backed it up with a 400 million spend. That is, you go again and win the league. That isn't, we're in transition now.
I kind of get what he's saying though, because they kind of are playing like they're in transition. They've basically replaced their whole forward line that won the league. Obviously, what happened to Jota happened. Luis Diaz has gone. Both of them were very key to them last season. They got Gakpo. Salah hasn't been able to kind of replicate the form from last season. They've had the Isaac issue. Ekitike obviously has hit the ground running and done well. So, I mean, it is a very different look team to what it was last season.
I understand that, but I think you can maybe you can say it's a little transitional period as we're bedding in players, but I don't think you can say this is a transitional season for Liverpool.
But you talk about bedding in players, but like there's no guarantee that it's going to work. Like last year they had something that worked.
That's not the point. The point is,
but that's what a transition is.
No, it's not. A transition is like when you've gotten a new manager and you've like completely changed, you're going to change the way you're playing and you need to reset things, and it's a transitional like season like what Chelsea have been going through the last maybe few years.
But this is pretty much Arne Slot's first transfer window because he didn't spend any money in the first transfer window.
Okay, but my point is they didn't spend 400 million to not win the league this season. This isn't a transitional season for Liverpool. They spent that because they want to win the league again and they want to have a bit of spell of dominance.
I think they've brought in really good players here at Liverpool. But I'm not so sure about the balance of the squad. I don't think they've done a good for the amount of money that they spent. I think the balance of the squad seems a bit off.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm just saying, I don't think Liverpool fans can use this excuse of it being a transitional season for not winning the league if they don't.
Yeah, look, obviously with the money that they spent and being champions, that they're going to look to win the league this season. 100%. I don't disagree with that, but they just don't. They don't feel like champions. They don't feel ready-made. Like, if anyone feels ready-made, it's Arsenal. It's not them.
I agree. But that's not the point I'm making. But I just think they need to find the right balance. But at the end of the day, I understand what Will's saying, but they're still only 1 point behind. And they have had a fairly tough start. I think they've played a few of the top six and the Merseyside derby as well, and St James's. I know Arsenal had a tough start, but I think Liverpool as well, in their own right, have had a fairly tough start to the season.
Yeah, they have had a tough start,
and they're only 1 point behind.
You still expect them not to lose 3 games in a row. Like it's not good enough, particularly with the money that they spent. And in terms of bedding in players, they might not have time to bed in these players because, like I said, like a few losses and Arsenal go 7 points clear at this stage. I think, I don't know. I can only see the gap widening from there. Next up is Aston Villa 2, Burnley 1, and both of us went for 2-1 to Aston Villa as well. So 5 pointers all round for this fixture, and Unai Emery turning it around a little bit at Aston Villa. Obviously, it is Burnley at home. And, you know, the score finished tight with 2-1 in the end, but they got the 3 points once again.
4 wins on the trot.
Yeah.
Daniel Marlin with a really nice brace.
Yeah, that first goal was brilliant.
Yeah, a couple of nice goals from him. So good win. So it looks like maybe Villa back on track and starting to climb the table again, which is exactly what they need. Burnley, another defeat for them. 5 defeats now in 7 games. It's going to be a tough season for them, I feel.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they have the quality. And last season, right, what was their big...
defence, yeah.
It was defence. They only conceded 15 goals. At the moment, they've already conceded 15 goals. So they've already conceded the same amount as they conceded the whole of last season.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that big strength from last season isn't going to be what keeps them up. So they're going to have to find something else. I don't think they have anything else.
Scotty Parker doing Scotty Parker things, you know, smashing out the Championship and not doing too well in the Premier League. I feel like when you're looking at Burnley, I think they're the only team that I can say are definitely going down.
Yeah, you got to think about a relegation battle. It's going to be a real scrap this season. Much different to how it's been in the other seasons.
Yeah,
where everyone
definitely. Because I'm looking at Sunderland and Leeds. You got to remember, in the last 2 seasons, the three promote sides have gone straight back down. I don't think that's going to be the case this season. Sunderland are making a really good case to stay in this league. Leeds are making a really good case to stay in this league. Wolves are in massive trouble, winless so far this season.
But they've got good players.
Yeah, they've got decent players. They do have some good players there, but you're never too good to go down, as West Ham once found out with some of the players that they had back then. So if they don't start picking up points, you never know. Wolves are sitting bottom of the league right now. They're below Burnley.
I'm not saying they're not in a relegation battle. We'll get onto Wolves, but I'm just saying you can't definitively say they're going down.
100%. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. Only Burnley, I feel like, are the dead certs to go down. If I was to make a prediction, I'd probably say Wolves, just because of the way they're going right now. But I can't say who the third team is going to be. It's impossible to say.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Everton against Crystal Palace. What a game this was. 2-1 to Everton. Both of us went for 1-1. And it looked like we were both onto 5 pointers once again. But look, Crystal Palace absolutely wiped the floor with Everton in the first 45 minutes. It should have been more than 1-0 going into the half-time break. I think Mateta misses a few gilt-edged chances. One of them he really has to just put away. And if it goes 2-0 at half-time, you're thinking, are Everton going to get back in this? I'm not sure. Even it could have been 3-0 even. But Everton, fair play to them and fair play to David Moyes. He makes a couple of changes at half-time and completely changes the direction of the game and end up winning it.
Yeah, and I think Palace's lack of depth is catching up to them a bit in this game because, as you say, started really strong but kind of ran out of steam in the second half. They're really only playing with 14 players at the moment, and Glasner bemoaning the fact that he's got a very small squad after the game, saying it's too small, needs more players. He said that during the summer as well. They played Kiev away on midweek, and they've got to go to Everton away as well. I just don't know if they have the squad to cope. And look, fair play to Glasgow and Palace because they won't be 19 games unbeaten, and this was the end of it, unfortunately for them. Now, it's never going to carry on forever, but it's just a long season, and I do worry for them a bit. Not like worry for them in the sense of going down or anything. Obviously, they're doing sixth in the table, doing brilliantly, and Glasgow's doing a great job, but I feel they will at one point start to struggle balancing both the Premier League and the Conference League. And we saw glimpses of it on the weekend, and I think that problem might only get exacerbated as the season goes on.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But I think they got a genuine chance of winning the Conference League this year. They probably should win the Conference League this year, and that'd be massive for them.
But what if you're Palace, and he's got to make a choice to prioritise one. He's doing well in the league, but what do you do? Do you go for that Conference League win, get that Europa League spot there, or do you? Because he might have to at some point start prioritising.
I think Conference League should be prioritised for Crystal Palace. Yeah. Not only does it get you a trophy, but gets you back into Europe as well. And what an unbelievable thing for Crystal Palace fans and Ollie Glasner to have on their CV, where FA Cup, Community Shield, Conference League.
Yeah, it would be phenomenal, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Everton 2-1 against Crystal Palace. Next up is Newcastle against Nottingham Forest. 2-0 to Newcastle. Sim went for 3-2. I went for 3-1. Ange Postecoglou suffers yet another defeat. Newcastle, it wasn't the greatest game of football, let's be real. I thought Forest were probably more resolute than they have been in previous weeks, and Newcastle actually struggled to break them down a little bit, but you always felt the goal was coming and you always felt that Newcastle were going to win the game.
Yeah, Ange trying out his new formation. He played it in midweek, played it again yesterday on Sunday. This 3 at the back formation, and they were fairly resolute. And then what happened was Gibbs White makes a mistake, gives the ball away in the middle of the park. But you got to say, what a strike from Bruno! 25 yards out, gets it high in the net. It's a great goal, and that obviously kind of ruined Forest's game plan, which was, I guess, to sit back and try and nick something, which is not very Ange, but it seemed to be the tactic in this game, back three and try and soak up a bit of pressure. And then after it went 1-0 Newcastle, Obviously, Forest opened up a bit. They tried to go for equaliser. They did have a couple of chances, but Newcastle were very threatening on the counter, and they could have made it 2 and 3. Obviously, they did make it 2 with the penalty. The penalty was an odd one, though, because Anderson has the ball in the box, and he goes to clear it, and doesn't see, I think there's Bruno next to him, nicking the ball off him, and he nicked the ball, and then his foot went right through Bruno. So one of those, it was a mistake, and what a penalty from Voltmader. 3 and 3 is it for him now? Or 3 goals
I think
at least.
It's 3 in his last 4 or 5.
Was it 4 goals he's got? He got 1 against Wolves, 1 against Arsenal, I think he scored in the Champions League as well, didn't he? So he's got 4 goals.
Yeah, 4 in all comps, yeah.
Yeah, 4 in all comps, so a great start for him. And the way he took that penalty, one step and right into the
that
top
penalty
corner.
was one of the best penalties I've ever seen. Seriously,
Yeah.
it really was. You can't get more top bins than that. Right in
So
the corner.
brilliant.
I really
yeah.
like him, by the way, Voltmader. Hold up play, physical, a threat. I think Newcastle picked up a really good player here.
And Bayern Munich, the Bayern Munich chairman said it was a massive mistake from Newcastle to pay that money. Well, he's throwing it back in their face at the moment, those quotes. But look, it's very early on. But he's doing well. He's doing really well. They've got a new hero there. But yeah, Ange, I mean, there was a lot of talk before the game about if he loses this game, could he be out of a job even? There was apparently a lot of journalists were saying he's under big pressure to get a result. He didn't get it, lost. So it's going to be a long international break for him.
I said it straight from the off, man. This was always going to be a marriage made in hell. Not because Marinakis is the owner, but just because you can't go mid-season from Nuno to Ange. You just can't do it. Like it's a recipe for disaster. It really is. And not only is it the complete opposite of the footballing spectrum, because they've got Europe, they've got no time on the training ground either. So like, what is the plan here?
Yeah,
I just don't understand it.
I mean, I don't know what. Look, first of all, Marinakis, I don't know what he was thinking, changing it after 3 games. What's the point of starting a season with a manager after 3 games?
Yeah.
With all like, it
When the
seemed as though-
murmurings were there over the summer.
It seemed as though he always had the plan to change it,
Yeah.
even from the very beginning. So I don't understand the logic in starting the season and then 3 games in changing the manager. But like, you change a manager you always intended to change. So why didn't he do it in the summer if he was going to do it? At least give Ange an opportunity to bed in his ideas properly. He's done it midway through the season. He's now then done that, and then he said, I know it's been a horrific start from Ange, don't get me wrong. 7 games, no wins so far. It's not gone right. But if you're going to do this change, and you've got to give it more than a month for him to bed in his start getting results. If you're only going to get rid of him after a month, there was no point doing this. It's like ridiculous. And look, I think Marinakis is volatile enough to sack him, to be honest, right now. And obviously you can see in the press conferences, he's defending himself, but he's obviously getting a bit tetchy with some of the journalists, which we know can happen in these press conferences. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be
It's like deja vu, man. What I'm watching these press conferences is exactly what I saw from him in his last few months at Tottenham Hotspur when he apparently knew he was sacked. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to last the season. I really don't.
But will he last the international break is the important question.
Yeah, I mean...
also, but if they do sack him, where do they go? Because, like, do you want a firefighter like Deitch? But then why the hell do you sack Nuno if you bring someone like him in? Who's available? There's talks of maybe Marco Silva. Do you go Marco Silva and just throw the book at him?
Marco Silva could be one, but I don't think they sacked Nuno because of his style of play. They sacked Nuno because stuff went on behind the scenes, in my opinion. I think there was some sort of disagreement with Edu.
I think part of it was style of play.
I think that was just an excuse.
No, I think they wanted a more attacking style of play, not style of play just because of style of play, because they felt if the team was, because you got to remember last season ended badly. They won 2 of the last 9 games and then completely flopped near the end. And they were drawing some. I think they drew at home to Leicester. Had some bad results. So I think there was word that Edu was saying that if we. Not necessarily Ange attacking, but they were saying if we can get a more attacking style of play where we can go at teams a bit more, this team has goals in it, and I think to be more sustainable and get more sustainable results, we need to be a bit more attacking and not just sit back all the time. If they've gone completely.
If that was true, though, if that was true, they would have made the change in the summer, not at the start of the season, Because if they had those worries towards the end of last season and the results weren't great, then yeah, fine, make that change in the summer if you want to go in a complete direction. But they decided to stick with Nuno. They decided to stick with what was working. Yeah, I know, with a bit of bad form at the end of last season, or terrible form at the end of last season. But at the end of the day, they've had their best season that they've ever had in a very, very long time at Nottingham Forest. And Nuno deserved the respect to carry on, even when when he's just got sacked now with, it was an okay, decent start to the season. And I feel the main reason why they sacked him is because of stuff that has gone on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and and that obviously, I think there's a few probably reasons. I don't really know what happened. I find it hard to believe Nuno, his stick in the ground was a Darmotore, but
do you?
I do. I find it hard to believe that was the thing. That if I don't get him, I want to leave. I think that seems a bit ridiculous.
Nuno never said he wanted to leave. It was not Nuno that said he wanted to leave. They wanted him out because of disagreements. Nuno always said he wanted to stay.
Yeah, but what was he disagreeing so much about that
I
they
don't know.
wanted
There was apparently there was some sort of disagreement on recruitment. I don't know what that was or how that came about, but there was clear problems in the back end.
Yeah, but if he wanted to stay, he wouldn't have made such a fuss that they would be willing to get rid of him out of the fuss he was making.
I don't know.
And also,
something's definitely gone on, though, hasn't it?
Publicly said what he said.
Yeah, something's definitely gone on, though, hasn't he?
Because once he says that publicly, he's got a target on his back.
Yeah.
Once he says that,
maybe he felt he already had that target on his back.
Potentially, and there was obviously, as you say, murmurings in the summer. The whole thing's a mess. I think it's all down to Marinakis and his ego and how he's dealt with the situation. And at the moment, I wonder where his ego is going to lead him in this decision, because one part his ego might be saying, no, I've made the decision and everyone's calling me a clown at the moment, but if I stick with it and it turns it around, people change their opinion. Or is he seeing at the moment, everyone's calling me a clown because I've hired this manager, I've got to get rid of him, right, because he's making me look like a fool and I'm going to put someone else in. So I wonder where his ego is going to look, you know what I mean?
I think Ange will face the sack. I don't know if it's going to be international break. They might give it a couple more games, but I do think Ange is going to get the sack, to be honest.
I think he's facing the sack already, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So, look, Marinakis, it is a bit of sweet poetic justice, though, because ever since coming out with those quotes saying, we're Nottingham Forest, we always win, or whatever he said, they've won one game all season. So brilliant stuff from Marinakis. Keep these quotes coming and keep the egg on your face. But, yeah, Ange, no matter what style of play, time on the training ground, all this kind of stuff, you've got to be doing better no matter what. Like, some of the embarrassments that they've had this season goes beyond kind of style of play and having time on the training pitch. Like some of these results in isolation might be palatable, but not all of them altogether. Like, you can't be 2-0 up to Swansea and lose 3-2 in the last 20 minutes of the game. You can't lose at home to Midtjylland. You can't lose at home to Sunderland. You can't draw away 1-1 to Burnley, all in the space of a few weeks. Like, that is nowhere near good enough, and that's a sackable offence on its own.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's been in the job 24 days. He's not even been in a month. You know what I mean? So I think I understand the results have been dreadful, but there was no
embarrassment after embarrassment.
I know, I understand that, but there's no point hiring him if you're only going to give him a month.
Yeah, but maybe you sometimes make the wrong decision, and the quicker you get that over and done with, and the quicker you let him go, the better it is for the club. You know that it happened with Spurs and Nuno. It happened with Crystal Palace and De Boer. Like, these things happen.
At least with Nuno, we gave him 3 months.
Yeah, we gave him 3 months, but regardless, we probably should have let him go earlier because we knew it was the wrong decision for the club.
Well, he won the first 3 games. Anyway, it's a different thing. But look, I think it's mad for me, in my opinion, to sack him after a month. But if I understand I don't know what he was expecting, Marinakis. Maybe he really thought it was just going to go great straight away, switching it mid-season.
For first 10 games, Ange.
Maybe he thought,
the first 10 games, Ange.
Gone straight to after. I think, I said when he got appointed, I think he's going to have a struggle.
You didn't think this bad?
I thought he'd win probably a couple of games at least, but he hasn't. I didn't think it'd be this bad, but I did expect to struggle because of all the problems we've been talking about. You know, to Nuno to Ange is like 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's obviously going to go through a bit of problems, but Yeah, of course, you need to at least beat Midtjylland. That's the big one, obviously. Sunderland, you should be winning that one. Swansea in the cup when you're 2-0 up. You should be winning these games 100%. And the fact he isn't, he might pay the price for it.
What do you make out of his comments in the press and stuff? Like, if you're a Forest fan, do you like the comments that he's making, or do you just feel like, just shut up, man?
If you're a Forest fan, I think you're probably thinking, just shut up, man, because you had a team and a manager that was working, and Marinakis has changed it. I know they didn't have a great start to the season. They did lose 3-0 at home to West Ham. This is Graham Potter's West Ham, but whatever. I think in the grand scheme of things, he wasn't in a position where you had to sack him. Nuno, right? He had the support of the fans. He had a good thing going, pretty much. So the fact they decided to sack him and they brought in Ange, who's completely changed everything up and changed the play style. Now they're sitting 17th and they've got no wins in 7, right? They want to hear some humbleness. They want to hear someone. They don't want to hear someone being as bullish as Ange right now. They want to see him fix the problems, not say, my methods, I've been here before, this is nothing, don't worry about me. They want to hear someone saying, look, we're going to fix these problems, we're going to work on these things, and things are not going right. But I think if you're a Forest fan, whatever Ange says, you're going to be frustrated at the moment. They were already against him pretty much from the start, I felt, because there was no need to change it. So he's already kind of got a bit of a target on his back, because there's a lot of fans who didn't feel like it was the right decision to sack Nuno. So they're kind of waiting for it to fail right from the start. Not saying they wanted it to, but they're waiting for it to. And you can see already, he's already got chants in the ground saying sacked in the morning, all these different things. The fans have turned immediately at the first sign of trouble from him because of that whole situation. So I can understand the situation. Like imagine when we sacked Poch and Mourinho lost his first 7 games or whatever, we would immediately have a target on his back. You know what I mean? And immediately be on his back. That's what would have happened. Luckily, that didn't happen for him. But so I can understand how the Forest fans are feeling at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like Ange just needs to stop with the kind of attacks in the press. Like, not attacks, but the way he is in press conference when things are going bad. I just don't think it's too much of a good look, man. And I feel like he just needs to calm it down a little bit, do his talking on the pitch, and take it from there.
I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I just think that's just how he's always been. That's how he's always been throughout his whole career.
It rubs people up the wrong way, though.
Yeah, if you're losing, it does.
Yeah, but he's only like that when he's losing.
No, he's also very charming and whatever. He's the same.
When he's winning, he's a lot more charming and he's a lot more like jovial and happy, and obviously because he's winning.
What did he say in this press conference? He didn't say anything bad.
He's just going on about, things are always tough, weren't you? What did he say to journalists? He said, what are the words that he said?
He said, think life's hard. He said your parents probably had to go through struggle.
Yeah.
Maybe you at one point, maybe you were a lost cause, and look how you turned out. And he was having a bit of a joke.
I know he's joking around, but it's just not what I want to see from my manager.
Look, I think it makes it all the better when if he does turn it around. Maybe that's what he's thinking. But I don't mind it. I personally don't. But I understand as a Forest fan right now when things are going as they've gone, and especially when you didn't have to sack the last manager, I think you're going to be very frustrated. But I don't think he's doing anything wrong per se, Ange.
Yeah. All right. That's that. Wolves 1, Brighton 1. Sim went for 1-1. Big 5-pointer that. I went for 3-1 to Brighton, which puts it on 56 to Sim, 59 to myself. How did you call that one? 1-1.
Yeah, I just felt Wolves, off the back of a really good result against Spurs, showing that they're not as bad as the pointless run of results has suggested. I think they're a good physical team, and I thought their physicality would mesh well against a more technical Brighton side. And I think at home, if they could overawe them, they might get some advantage. Obviously, they got the lead. Great strike from Runetzi, but it went off the back of Verbruggen. They got the lead, but Brighton battled back late in the game and got the draw. So fair play.
It'd be gutting for Wolves that. 5 minutes from time, Van Hecker.
But yeah, I just felt, look, Wolves are not a bad team. They're a good team, a very physical team. And against teams like Brighton, who are much more technical, I've always felt it was going to be a difficult day for Brighton.
Yeah, do you think Pereira's under pressure?
I mean,
is he going to face the sack anytime soon?
well, he signed a contract just before Spurs.
They've got Sunderland and Burnley their next 2 games. They have to pick up some wins in those 2.
They have to pick you'd say they should really be winning at least one of those games. Look, it's still so early on, but yeah, of course, he's got to start getting some wins at some point. But I think the job is just stay up this season. And I think they're good enough to do it. Like when I think about their squad compared to Burnley or Brentford or Leeds, I think they got better squads. So I think they could get more points in those teams.
All right, we finish off with Brentford 0, Manchester City 1. I went for 3-2, you went for 3-1, so 1 point each for us on the City game. Erling Haaland doing Erling Haaland things once again. What a start to the season this man has had. And yeah, I mean, for club and country, he is just monstrous. The only team to keep him out this season has been Tottenham Hotspur.
Incredible.
He scored against every other of his opponents, and this one was no different. Quality goal at that as well. Josko Gvardiol with a wonder ball to find Erling Haaland. And let's be real, Haaland still had quite a lot to do when he picked up the ball, and he did it unbelievably well. Found the back of the net. And yeah, they couldn't find the back of the net or break down Brentford after that, but they got the 3 points.
I think Haaland might be the only striker who scores from the position he was in.
Yeah, probably.
In the league. Like, Gvardiol gives him the ball, a good pass, but he literally has 2 defenders behind him. He's got Van Hecke on his back, and he just pushes him out the way, turns him, and gets past him, and has the composure to just blast it past Keller at the near post and finish it as well. It's a phenomenal striker's goal. Like, it's one of those where it's a chance created out of absolutely nothing. A ball just hoisted towards him, and he seems to just create a chance out of it. Brilliant finish. Obviously, Brentford had some chances in the game. Donnarumma had to be his best to keep the clean sheet, but a good win for Man City. Obviously, back into 5th in the league at the moment. Do you reckon there's any chance they've been written off too early when it comes to a title race? A lot of people saying after those 2, they lost to Spurs and Brighton, everyone's like, okay, they're done. They're not winning the league now.
No, you can never write off Man City and Pep Guardiola, particularly when you've got a striker like Erling Haaland that's scoring every single game, pretty much. Still got a top quality team. Phil Foden seems to be getting back to Phil Foden. You got Josko Gvardiol. I think he changes their team when he plays at centre back. Big miss. Rodri goes off injured in this game, which, he could see some time out on the sidelines again. Yeah, I do worry for them without Rodri. But look, you can never write off Man City.
I saw the quote from the Spanish manager saying Rodri should be back after international break, they're hoping. So hopefully it's not too bad for him.
But Rodri, I mean, he's not the same Rodri as he was before the ACL.
I think they need to manage him a bit more. They're starting him maybe too often, and maybe he just needs a bit more management because he seems to be struggling. I think there was a game in midweek. I can't remember which game it was, but Pep said after the game, Rodri was complaining about a bit of pain in the knee that he got the ACL. So clearly that hasn't fully got to 100% yet. Obviously, he's such a big player for them. Yeah, I think if they would have held on at the Emirates, I think we would be having different conversations. But obviously, Arsenal scored the goal, and people kind of still not considering Man City as part of the title race. But look, I agree with you. Donnarumma is part of the team as well. Ever since he's come in, they've looked a lot better. I think.
It's coupled with Donnarumma being in goal and Josko Gvardiol being moved to centre back.
And also, who's doing really well? Nico O'Reilly. Very, very impressed with him.
They've never lost when he started.
Very impressed with him. He's just got called up to the England squad. I think he's done a great job at fullback when he's coming. He's physical. So, he's been a really good addition.
Reinders looks good. Oscar Bob looks very good.
Yeah, what I would say is, there's still, apart from Haaland, Foden hasn't quite got his goal-scoring touch back as much as they're playing well. And, with Cherki being injured, they haven't kind of replaced the goal contribution to De Bruyne yet. So they still, I feel like without Haaland, they're still lacking in goals a bit.
Well, I think Jeremy Doku has come on leaps and bounds this season. I think he's playing a lot better. And he's actually got a bit of an end product now, Jeremy Doku. So I envisage that he could be getting more consistent throughout the season. Ryan Cherki was on the bench on the weekend. So,
but, if you look at just barefaced facts, top goal scorers in the league, and only Spurs and Arsenal have conceded less goals than them. Spurs, Arsenal and Palace. So they're not doing terribly, as much as those 2 defeats were bad they had at the beginning. I think Trafford played both those games as well. Like, I think City could definitely find themselves back in.
They'll be there or thereabouts this season. I've actually been more impressed with Man City this season than Liverpool.
Yeah, there's an argument there.
Yeah. So anyway, that is the games in terms of star men. Sim went for Ollie Watkins, who got nothing, and I went for Nick Voltemada, who got the penalty and scored, obviously. So we end off this week 65-57. Bit of a break for international break, but we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.